So these are the different operators. Now we are coming to logical operators. Okay. So ampersand, ampersand. So if I use ampersand twice, and these are consecutive ampersand, then if it will represent that if we have two conditions, first condition and second condition, if I use this logical operator in between these two conditions, then if both of these conditions are true, then it will be true. If any one of them or both of them are false, then the condition will be false. The second operator is OR operator. Okay, so in case of OR operator, if we have two conditions which are kept together using this OR operator, then if first condition is true or second condition is true, or if both of these conditions are true, then it will be true. If any one of them is true, alternatively if both of them are true, then the condition will be true. So if first condition or second condition is true, then it will be true. If both of them are true, then it will be again true. It will fail if both of them are false. Okay. Now the third logical operator is NOT. Okay. So if x not equals to, sorry, if this not is used generally before some condition. So if a condition is true, if I use this symbol before this condition, then it will just revert the logic. Okay, so this is not logical operator. Now we have some other type of operator. These are bitwise operators. I'll discuss these bitwise operators now. Okay, so these are the different operators. Some of them we have discussed during our class. Sometimes some of them we have not discussed. So these are the different operators which we can use during our application development. Now we are coming to assignment operator. We have already used this equal symbol. So if I write x equals to y plus z, then the value of y and z will be added. The values of y and z will be added, and the result will be assigned to x. Okay. Now plus equals, minus equals, multiplication equals, and division equals. I will come to that in our discussion. Okay. Now let me write another program. I'm writing it here. Okay. I have a variable I and j. I am eliminating, removing this value, this variable. So let me declare this variable I and initialize another variable j. So I equals to 10, j equals to 10. Now I'm going to check this logic. So if I equals j, I will print will print okay. So in this case, x is 10, y is 10. In this case, x is 10 and y is 10. So what will be the value? What will be printed here? X is 10, y is 10. So condition is equals. So I is 10 and j is 10. So if both of these are equal, then it will print equal as it has printed here. It's equal. If I write x equals to this, I equals to this and j equals to this, in that case, what will be the value? So here, it will print not equal. Okay. It will print not equal. So this one is not equal. Now if I write, I want to print some value. Say I'm writing a value I, and here I'm writing if I write this one, if I write if I, what will be the output?
So it should be high.
It should be high. Okay. Then if it's not this, not I,
So then it should be hello.
it should be hello. So we've got this answer that here we are using not operator. On this is a logical not operator. If a condition is true, before this condition, if I write something, then it will be, oh, so before this, if I use not operator, it will revert the condition. Okay. Now, okay, let me consider this. Okay, so if I run this program again, then what is the value? What's the output?
So high.
High. It will be hello. This one is not high. It's hello. The reason is except 0. 0 will be treated as false. If it's not 0, like previously I have written 10. So if 10, then it will be high. Okay. But if this value is 0, then if 0, so in if clause, if the value is 0, then it is treated as false. That's why it will be, the output will be hello. Even if we write minus 5, I can use minus 5, then it will be high again because the condition is true. So in if block, if the value is 0, it is treated as false. Otherwise, for all other values, this one is true. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Coming to some other operators. Uh, so we do understand what is logical AND, logical OR, logical NOT, and these are the relational operators to understand what does it mean. Now I'm coming to Shall I go to bitwise operator? I will discuss bitwise operator later because we have not discussed number system and ASCII representation. I will come to this later. Now, if I write I equals, what will be the output here?
So then it should be
Hello.
high.
Hello. Hello.
No, it will be high. The output
Because
is
it
high.
assigns
Yes.
the value.
So because I is the value of j is being assigned to I, it's not equals operation. So if we use double equals, then the two values will be compared. But here I am using only this, I equals to j. So the value of j is being assigned and the output is, the condition is true and it's high. Now if the value of j is 0, so j is 0, 0 is being assigned to I, in that case the condition is false. So now it will print hello. Okay. Now I am giving you some different example. Like I am considering I equals to 5 and j equals to 10. Okay. So if I modulo j, what will happen? What happens?
So then high as well. Should be high as well.
Hi, sir.
I modulo j, 5 modulo 10.
Which is 0. So you can take
No, 5 modulo 10. So the value is 5.
5.
Okay. So 5 is non-zero value. So it will be high. This one is true. If I write I divided by j, 5 divided by 10. So 5 divided by 10, that means the value is, the exact value should be 0.5, but as we are using integer, both of these variables are integer, that's why 5 divided by 10 will become 0. Okay. So if this value is 0, then it will be, the condition is false, it will go to else statement, it will print hello. Is there any confusion?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Let me show you some more examples. Like if I write something, close this line. I'm adding this comment, so these lines will not be executed. Now I want to print t x, sorry, I plus j. What will be the value?
If
15. 5 plus 10 is 15. Okay. Now if I write I think it will be difficult at this moment. I will not discuss it right now. printf function is basically returning some value. Okay, I will show it later, not at this moment. We have understood different types of operators. Now I am coming to assignment operator again. So earlier we have used this assignment operator. If I equals j, so the value of j is being assigned to I. We have used this operator earlier, I equals this. Now if I write I equals the current value of I plus j, this one, and I want to print this value of j, what will be the output? Sorry, value of I equals to
20.
20.
So it will be j, I equals to 10, j is 10, so I equals to 10 plus 10 is 20. So here output is 20. Okay. Now if I discuss that, if this instead of this, sometimes we can reduce this. So I equals to I plus j, which is equivalent to I plus equals to j. I plus equals to j is basically it's same with I equals I plus j. And this again the value will be 20. Okay, so these two are equivalent. So here if I write plus equals, so I plus equals, or in this example C plus equals A, so that means C equals to C plus A. Similarly for minus equals, multiplication equals, division equals, okay, and obviously percentile equals, so that means modulo equals. Okay, so it will represent that C equals to C modulo A. Okay, now the next thing, like this one, less than equals, greater than equals, when I will discuss bitwise operators, at that time I will discuss this operators again. Okay, these assignment operators will be discussed at that time.
So left shift or right shift?
Left shift and right shift, if you know, then we can discuss, we don't have any problem. Let me show you. Okay, before going to bitwise operator, I want to show you something. Okay, just a minute, I have to receive a call from department. Hello sir. হ্যাঁ হয়েছে হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ আচ্ছা, ওটা মিড ধরা হয়েছিল, মানে ওই দুটোর ক্ষেত্রে। না না, ও ইউনিটটা বলছেন? হ্যাঁ, আচ্ছা হ্যাঁ আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে স্যার। আমি তাহলে এই এখন একটা ক্লাস নিচ্ছি, এটা হয়ে গেলে আমি 5:30টার পরে বসে ওটা কারেকশন করে পাঠিয়ে দেবো। ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে, আমি করে দিচ্ছি। Yeah. Hmm. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Was discussing something. Can you recall?
The bitwise operator, sir. Left shift right shift.
I will discuss the bitwise operator. Before that, okay, let me show you. Can I write this? Just I am removing this line. I want to print the value of I. Can I write I equals to 0, 5?
Yes, sir.
Why?
So it means basically 5. So
Okay.
the compiler thinks it as only 5 and ignores the 0.
Okay. If I write 50,
So then it will respond to that 0. It will consider it 50.
50 means 0. Why?
Yes. Because it is after a non-zero digit.
Can you see the output? The output is 40.
Yes, sir.
Basically, if I use 0 before an integer value, it indicates that it's a octal number. Okay? You know octal representation?
Yes, sir.
Binary, hexadecimal octal. So 050, this one is basically, I'm just,
Octal number.
this one is octal value. Okay, I'm just writing it here. So it's a octal representation. If I write 0x50, small x, what does it mean? You can see the output.
Sir, hexadecimal.
It's a decimal. Now let me write something which will be meaningful, like 50. Okay, let me write 47.
Sir, put I is equal to 0, 10.
I equals to 10. Where?
0, 10, sir.
0, 1, 0. Okay. Then it's again octal number. I have used 0 before this number, so it will be 8.
सर 10 ऑक्टल नंबर कितना माइनस होता है ऑक्टल नंबर में सर? कितना माइनस होता है ऑक्टल नंबर? जैसे हम प्रीवियस 50 लिए थे उसमें 40 आया था, इसमें मतलब 10 लिए तो इसमें 8 आया.
It's a octal representation. Minus means, okay, I think you have some confusion in octal number. If I write 0,
Sir,
1,
actually octal number में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, प्लीज सर नंबर समझ लीजिए.
okay, 0, 1, 0. So this 0 represents octal number. So what 10 means? You have to start from this position. So this value is 8 to the power 0. So 0 into be 0 into this value is 0 into 8 to the power 0, and before that 1 into 8 to the power 1 plus 0 into 8 to the power 0. This value is 0 into 8 to the power 0 is 0, and 1 into 8 to the power 1. So this value is 8. So if I use this, then it will be 8 only. If I write 1 0, this value is 8.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, in 050,
If I write 13 013, not 13, in decimal number it will be 13, but if I write 013, it's an octal representation. So this value is 1 into 8 to the power 1
11.
plus 3 into 8 to the power 0. So that means it will
11.
look
11.
it in decimal, in integer format it will be 11. Okay. Now if I write 0x13, so 0x13 means I'm using 13. So it means multiplied by 16 to the power 1 plus 3 into 16 to the power 0. That will be the output. Okay. So if I write 13, then this is the representation output. So what is this? 16 plus 16 plus 3. So 16 plus 3, that means 19. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now if I write something more than this, like 130, then it will be like this. So accordingly it will be calculated. Okay. Now I'm taking, okay, so in this way, when we are using integer, then the things are being represented in this way. So 0, if I use 0 before a numeric value, it indicates that it's an octal number. If I use 0x, it's a hexadecimal number. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm just moving back to some other topic. Say I equals to just 130. It's not an octal number, so I equals to 130. I want to print the value of I. It will print, it will print this value. Okay. If I want to know the address of variable I, we know that I is a variable. So I is an alias of a memory location where 130 is stored. So at which address this value is stored? If I want to print address of this variable, I have to use percentile u, and before I have to use ampersand of I. So ampersand I means address of I. So if I print it, then it will print an address. So at this address, the value is stored in system memory. So in RAM, at this address, this value is stored. Okay. Any doubt?
No, sir.
So I'm printing here. I'm printing address of I. Now why I'm using u? The value looks like an integer, but why I'm using u? The reason of using u is address cannot be a negative number. It's unsigned number. Address is unsigned. Address starts from 0. So an address cannot be a negative value. That's why to print an unsigned value, I have to use this percentile u to print unsigned value. That's why I am using percentile u to print the address of I. Now say I equals to 13. Now how to print this value of I? Percentile b equals to I. I print this value. don't want to print address, I will print value of I. So it will print 13. Okay. If I use, instead of percentile D, if I use percentile C, what will happen?
Character of 13 ASCII code.
Sir, it's 4.
Oh. Okay, let me write it as 66. I equals to 66, and I want to print percentile.
Capital.
Yeah, it's a capital B, because 65 is capital A, 66 is capital B. If I use 100, so lowercase starts from 97, so it will be small d. Okay.
Sir, can you describe it?
Yeah. So what is the value of I? I is 100. If I use percentile D, it is being treated as integer. If I use percentile C, it is being treated as character. Okay. So if I pass 100, which is to be printed as character, its corresponding ASCII value will be printed. A character is again treated in a system. A character is again treated as integer value, and its size is 1 byte. Okay.
Sir, if I use in I equals to A and print the total this percent D, then what happened? I equals to A.
You can write A if
Yeah.
it is in single quote.
It's not, sir, percent C, it's percent D.
Okay. What will be the data type of I? We are treating it as integer. So percentile D, then it will be 65. Its numeric value.
Sir, it's a ASCII code number, na?
Yeah, 65 is ASCII code of A.
Capital A.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The same thing, even if we use char I equals to this, and I want to print value using percentile D, it will be 65. Char I equals to A, but I want to print it in character form,
Then A.
then it will be A. These things are very important for interview. During placement, campus placement program, so in technical round, this type of tricky things are being given. So the things are very basic concepts, but you have to prepare. Always you have to prepare these things. You have to understand how internally it is being managed. It's not just learning syntaxes of a programming language. Your paper is not C programming language. Your paper is problem solving. Okay. So if I give you a problem, you have to design an algorithm. You have to, sometimes you have to draw a flowchart, and then you have to start writing a code. It's not like just getting a problem statement, you will start writing a code. No, it will not help you. Even it's a bad approach. You should think of the problem. If it's a complex problem, then you should analyze, understand how you can solve the problem. If any algorithm is required, you have to design the logic, you have to write the algorithm, then you have to write the code. Coding should not take much effort than solving the problem. You have to understand it logically. If you logically understand any problem, then you can write or solve it in any programming language. if I could cover these things earlier, then this type of questions I could give you in exam. But when I was trying to prepare your question paper at that time, it was very difficult for me, because whatever I am thinking to give you in your question paper, at the same time I am thinking that I have not discussed the things still in your class. Okay. Now I will show you few more examples. Like I will discuss few things like I equals to 10, say j equals to 17. Okay, I will use percentile t. Can I write something like, if I is less than j? Is it possible? Can I write this type of logic?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. If I is less than j, is it true? I is less than j, is it true?
Yes, sir.
If the condition is true, it's a function call. So during function call, we are passing a parameter I is less than j. If it's true, the value will be 1. If it's false, the value will be 0. So if I write greater than j, that means it's a false. 10 is not greater than 17. So now it will be 0. It's false. Okay. Similarly, we can play with this, that if I equals j, so two values will be compared. If these two are equal, then it will be 1. If it's not, then it will be 0. So here it will be 0. This type of conditions can be written here. Okay. So today we have discussed that in a for loop, we can write multiple initialization. We may write multiple conditions as well as multiple increment and decrement. Sometimes we can skip some of them. Like if I just want to write here that I'm going to define this block of code. Say first initialization part I am keeping it blank. So if I is less than 14, then I plus plus, and it will print the value of I. Nothing else. It's simple as that. So here the value will be 11, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the initial value, so though I have not mentioned initialization, the initialization part of this for loop is blank, but the current value of I is 10. We have initialized it earlier. So it will enter with this value 10. In the next iteration, I is being incremented by 1, 11, 12, 13. When it becomes 14, then the condition is false. If the condition is false, it will not enter this block. So the loop will break and the main function will be terminated. Now, instead of writing this increment, I can write it within this program also, just like this. If I write I plus plus, I can write it here. So I can keep this increment part blank. I can add multiple increment or decrement, multiple initialization, multiple condition. Similarly, I can keep the things blank. Keep this thing again blank. So within this for loop, I may write some logic like, if I is less than 15, then I will be incremented I is less than 15. This otherwise will break. Otherwise it will break. So here I am writing I plus. I is being incremented. Now the value of I will be checked. If this value of I is less than 15, it will break. It will break. So in this for loop, we don't have initialization, condition checking, as well as increment or decrement operator. So if I run this program, then it will be like this. Okay. But if you forgot to increase this value, not write increment operation, then it will be an infinite. The program will run for infinite time until system hangs or memory is overflow. Okay. Is there any doubt in today's discussion?
Sir, after printf, can we put I plus plus?
Here,
Yeah, after no, in next line.
In while loop, not in for loop.
in this line, I
Yes,
plus
sir.
plus. Okay. Write I plus plus here, the program will not compile.
Okay.
Then what you have to do, because we have multiple line in if statement, so we have to start this block, then we have to end this block. So if we have multiple instruction in a block, then the things are to be enclosed in brace. So in that case I will add this. Now it will work. Okay, it's fine. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this attendance is very poor. I don't know the reason, but in your batch, okay, I will talk to Sir later. Okay, then we'll resume the class on next class. That means
Sir,
you have next
sir, have
class.
you taken attendance, sir?
Yeah, hello.
Sir, have you taken the attendance, sir?
Attendance is being automatically saved in system, and just you can see that the attendance is being saved, and it also mentions that how long you are attending the class. Like, what is this? In automatically it will be saved. Automatically the attendance is being saved at the end of the meeting. Just like this one. If you take any class, then at the end, this has been saved in system. Just I can show you that. Okay, fine. So I'm closing this session today. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.